All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. I got tested yesterday and I have COVID. I have felt very weak over the last week. And what was interesting is I put a podcast up yesterday, the day I got tested and found out I was positive for COVID. My title was "Don't Let the COVID Make You Feel Weak," which was kind of interesting in itself, but I've been doing a lot of traveling with my girlfriend. I think we went back and forth to Boca Raton 4 times in like 12 days. I also went to 3 doings back to back to back. I went to a gala, then I went to a family party, and then I went back to Boca, or I was in Boca for the party and the wedding. And then I came home and went to Jacksonville as well. I just think I really wore myself out. I am vaccinated. I don't necessarily know if I would have done it or not. Probably not, but both of my daughters have health issues. One has had a liver transplant, and the other one is type 1 diabetic. So they asked me if I would get the vaccination, and I said, of course, I would do it for them too. And I'd like to be as honest, as I can when doing these podcasts. I don't want to pretend one way or another. I try to be transparent, to be honest with you. And I was just going to give you my heads up for kind of what I've been feeling. I've been pretty tired. For some reason, my eyes won't stop watering. And I haven't really been sick in 20 years. But 2 things did happen in the last 20 years, the last time I was really sick. The last time I really was sick, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, was back in, I think, 2003-ish, 2002-ish, around there. I got invited. One of my films got accepted into a Miami independent film festival. So I went there. I remember driving back from there, and I just felt like this huge blanket of sick just come over me. I started to shake. My buddy had to drive home. I got home. I was wrecked. And that was almost 20 years ago. In between that time, I've done a substantial amount of traveling, hundreds of thousands of miles, driving hundreds of thousands of miles, I presume as well. And my immune system was really strong. So 2 things happened. One time I got caught in a blizzard in Jersey. I arrived at the hotel. I was kind of dizzy. And it was very stressful because the plane had to land and everything was, I couldn't drive to my hotel barely, and everything was blocked off. And I finally got there, and then my car got snowed in that day. You couldn't even find my car the next day. That's how much snow. But I got there right before the big blizzard. And I just had a headache, and that night I broke a sweat. And for the next day, I felt wonderful. And that happened to me a couple years ago, right before COVID hit. My girlfriend came back from Texas. We were in, Tampa or St. Pete's or somewhere. She went in, I drove her to where she had to go. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't even get out of the car. I don't know what happened. She came back. I went to go eat some Greek food. I couldn't eat. Went to the hotel, laid in the bed. And I'm like, wow, I don't know what's going on here. Fell asleep. And I woke up the next day and my whole bed was soaked. I even went into a separate bed than her because I said, listen, I don't want to get you sick. But I was soaked and I felt like $1 million. But this time, I just woke up and I did not feel good. I felt very achy, and I've felt very achy the last couple days, but I'm never usually sick. And I'm usually sore. I don't know if you go through this. If you work out a lot throughout your life, I still get sore a lot. So at first I started to feel some aches and pains in my legs. I'm like, oh, that's because I did that Laird Hamilton workout. And then my lower back was sore, and I'm like, oh, I did those traps and some back the other day. That's why that's sore, and some abs. So to make a long story short, I kind of walk around sore all the time, especially my legs. My legs are always sore. I used to go around and say, if you want to take me out, just come and kick my legs, because most likely I did a hardcore leg workout, and they're very sore. And that's kind of what I feel like on COVID, is like my body's sore from doing an entire body workout. My nose is running today. It didn't run yesterday. And also today, what else? I've been coughing. I feel very hot, and then I feel very cold. I also went outside yesterday while walking the dog, and I live in Florida. I went from walking out there and being extremely hot, and like 2 minutes later, I felt like I was in Alaska. I felt like I was freezing. I had to real fast get back in the house and get in the shower. I started to shake because I was just cold. I don't know what happened there, but it's kind of like the top of my head is hot and my lower half of my body is cold. And, I'm quarantining, so maybe I'll do some more podcasts depending on how much energy I have, but I'm doing fine. And I just want to do a podcast on this, give people kind of a heads up, because I do a lot of podcasts on making sure people stay strong during the pandemic. Well, if you have COVID or not, I just want people to always be strong and have the mindset What's interesting lately with me is I have not had a really strong mindset, and I've just been kind of fighting all these other things, being aggravated regarding things not necessarily going the way I wanted. I also kind of felt like I was being, I can't say selfish, but I really didn't want to network with anyone lately or be bothered with that when I used to love doing that. And I love helping others, usually in a time of need. And for some reason lately, I just haven't felt that. And it's interesting that I got sick because my whole thing is I truly love helping people. And the minute I kind of, I don't know if I got exhausted from it, burnt out from it, but I didn't look forward to it. Was the one time that I got very sick. Now, I'm not saying that I put this upon me, but I didn't feel like myself lately. And it was, I'm not going to say I kind of wished upon being sick by any means, because that's the last thing I ever want is to be sick. But I didn't care either, like just even when I was going to the parties and going and drinking maybe an extra glass of wine or two that I wouldn't have drank, maybe smoking too many cigars that I normally wouldn't have, and just burning myself out. It was almost like, I'm not saying I intentionally burned myself out, but I kind of think I was burning myself out on, lighting the wick on both ends to see how far I could push it. And I knew I wasn't feeling good even while doing it. And I, a lot of times, tell people, you got to really pay attention to what your body's saying. And in this case, I wasn't at all. And the good thing is when I didn't start to feel too good or whatever, I kept my distance from everybody. And then once I had a family member call me and say at the wedding some other people had COVID, which was interesting because those are the two people I didn't see, or that I didn't see really at all or have discussions with. And some of my other family members. So I'm not sure how this even came about. But listen, if you're out there and if you caught COVID, I underestimated maybe how, it would affect you. Because I think it affects everybody differently according to your age, according to whatever you have. It could be other illnesses. And I do want people to know, when I say be strong, I just want you to be strong. It's not to make you feel like you're weak or make you feel like if you get sick or any of those type of things, like I'm telling you, you better kick it in the ass and all that shit, even though I want you to. But I just want to do a podcast on this and understand I'm here for people. If you have any questions or comments, this was kind of a personal podcast, just to give you a heads up on what I'm going through. And I didn't make this, I don't post this shit on Facebook or any of those other places. My podcast is kind of where I vent and I feel the safest talking about certain things. And I think that's where my true audience is as well. They like to listen to what I have to say. So, all right, it's all I got for you guys. All right, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.